Ladies and gentlemen, today I stand before you to speak on one of the most powerful forces that can either limit or propel us in life, fear. It is an emotion we all face, one that lurks in the corners of our minds and often holds us back from reaching our fullest potential. But I tell you this, fear need not be our enemy. It is not a barrier, but a signal that we are standing at the threshold of growth, change, and opportunity. Fear arises naturally in all of us. It is a response to uncertainty, to stepping into the unknown, and to the challenges that lie ahead. But we must ask ourselves, is fear truly something to be feared? Or is it simply an illusion, a mirage created by our own minds? The answer lies within the power of our thoughts. The human mind is a powerful force, capable of creating the life we envision or trapping us in cycles of doubt and fear. The thoughts we entertain, whether consciously or subconsciously, are the foundation upon which our reality is built. These thoughts influence not only our behavior and decisions, but also shape the circumstances of our lives. The idea that thoughts have the power to shape our destiny is not just a philosophical concept, but a universal truth that has been proven time and time again. To understand this power is to unlock the key to transforming our lives. At its core, thought is the first step in any process. Every action, every decision, every success, and every failure begins with a thought. The thoughts we choose to focus on determine the trajectory of our lives. If we allow ourselves to be consumed by fear, doubt, or negativity, we are in essence planting the seeds for failure. On the other hand, when we choose to think positively, believe in our potential, and focus on solutions, we set the stage for success. It is important to recognize that thoughts are not neutral. They carry energy either uplifting or limiting. A positive thought sends a ripple through the mind and body, uplifting one's spirit and reinforcing a sense of purpose and determination. Conversely, negative thoughts have a constricting effect. They trigger stress, anxiety, and even physical responses such as tension or fatigue. This is why it is so critical to be mindful of the thoughts we entertain. We cannot always control external circumstances, but we can control internal dialogue that guides us through those circumstances. The power of thought also lies in its ability to influence our perceptions. When faced with a challenge, a negative thought might frame that challenge as an insurmountable obstacle. But when we shift our thinking, when we see the same challenge as an opportunity for growth or a lesson to be learned, we change the way we approach it. This shift in perception can be the difference between feeling defeated and feeling empowered. The mind is incredibly malleable, and with practice we can train ourselves to respond to challenges with courage and optimism rather than fear and hesitation. Moreover, thoughts create beliefs, and beliefs shape our actions. Our beliefs are built from the patterns of thought we have repeated over time. If you believe you are capable, intelligent, and worthy of success, you will take actions aligned with that belief, regardless of external factors. On the other hand, if you hold limiting beliefs such as thinking you are not good enough, that success is reserved for others, or that failure is inevitable, you will unconsciously make decisions that reflect those beliefs. Your actions will align with your thoughts and beliefs, either propelling you toward your goals or keeping you stuck in a cycle of unfulfilled potential. The power of thought also extends beyond the individual. Thoughts can create a ripple effect that influences the people around us. When we adopt a positive mindset, we radiate an energy that others can sense. Positive thoughts can inspire, uplift, and motivate those in our circle. Conversely, negative thoughts can bring down the energy of a room, dampen enthusiasm, and even breed conflict. The way we think, therefore, doesn't just impact us, it impacts the collective environment we are a part of. Furthermore, the law of attraction comes into play. According to this principle, we attract into our lives what we focus on most. If our thoughts are filled with doubt and negativity, we may inadvertently attract situations, people, and opportunities that reflect those very feelings. On the other hand, when we focus our thoughts on what we want, on success, health, love, or abundance, we are more likely to notice opportunities that align with those desires. In this way, our thoughts serve as a magnet, pulling toward us that which we focus on most. In essence, thought is the starting point of creation. Everything that exists in the physical world, every invention, every success story, and even every failure began as a thought. What we think about, we bring into our reality. It is this understanding of the immense power of thought that gives us the ability to shape our lives consciously, deliberately, and purposefully. By recognizing the influence of thought, we can take responsibility for our mental environment and begin to align it with the life we wish to create. Fear is one of the most primal and fundamental emotions that humans experience. It is hardwired into our biology, a natural response designed to protect us from danger and ensure our survival. While fear can often be viewed negatively, it is important to understand that fear itself is neither good nor bad. It simply exists as part of the human experience. Fear serves as a signal, an instinctive reaction that helps us recognize threats in our environment. It prompts us to either fight, flee, or freeze in the face of perceived danger. It is one of the body's most immediate responses to a potential threat, triggering physical changes like a racing heart, increased respiration, and heightened senses, all designed to prepare the body for action. From an evolutionary standpoint, fear is a crucial survival mechanism. Early humans faced constant dangers, from wild animals to natural disasters. In these situations, the ability to quickly recognize a threat and respond accordingly was vital. If an early human heard a rustling in the bushes, the surge of fear would prompt them to either defend themselves, run away, or remain still and hidden. Without this response, they would be at greater risk of harm. Fear, therefore, ensured that individuals could react to threats faster than they could consciously process them. In today's world, however, the nature of the threats we face has shifted. While we no longer need to fear wild animals or life-threatening dangers on a daily basis, the biological response of fear remains. The modern equivalent of an enemy could be public speaking, facing a difficult decision, or embarking on a new challenge. Although the stakes may not be life or death in many cases, the body still reacts as if they were. The same fight or flight response occurs when we are confronted with something that makes us feel vulnerable, insecure, or uncertain. Fear, in its essence, is a protective instinct. It is designed to keep us safe by signaling to us that we may be facing a situation where the outcome is uncertain and we may not have control. It is the body's way of ensuring we are alert and ready to respond. However, when fear is triggered by something that poses no real physical danger, such as an important meeting, a tough conversation, or a creative endeavor, it can become counterproductive. In these cases, fear doesn't signal imminent harm, but rather signals an emotional or psychological challenge. Yet our bodies react in the same way as they would in response to physical danger. This disconnect between fear and actual threat is what often causes misguided reactions. When faced with something that causes discomfort or anxiety, we may feel paralyzed, avoidant, or overly cautious. Fear may convince us that the challenge is too difficult to overcome, that we are not up to the task, or that failure is inevitable. This is where the problem arises. While fear is a natural and helpful response to actual danger, it can be misinterpreted in situations where the perceived danger is not real, leading to avoidance, inaction, or even self-doubt. Yet, fear should not be viewed solely as a negative force. Instead, it can be reframed as an indicator that we are stepping out of our comfort zone or moving towards something that holds potential for growth. Fear often arises when we are about to make progress, push boundaries, or challenge ourselves. It may arise when we are on the brink of something new and unfamiliar. In this sense, fear is simply the body's way of signaling that we are about to venture into new territory, a sign of transformation in the making. Understanding fear as a natural response allows us to acknowledge it without letting it control us. It becomes possible to recognize that fear's presence is not a signal to stop or retreat, but an invitation to move forward with caution and awareness. Rather than ignoring or suppressing fear, we can learn to face it head-on, using it as a motivator to prepare ourselves for success, rather than as a reason to avoid growth. Faith in oneself is the cornerstone of personal strength and success. It is the inner belief that, despite external circumstances or challenges, you have the ability, resources, and resilience to achieve your goals and overcome obstacles. This belief is not built overnight, but is cultivated through consistent self-reflection, experience, and the conscious decision to trust in your own capabilities. The foundation of self-faith lies in recognizing one's worth and acknowledging the unique potential within. When you develop this inner confidence, it becomes a driving force that propels you toward greatness, even in the face of adversity. Having faith in oneself is often the differentiating factor between those who succeed and those who do not. This belief empowers individuals to take action, to venture beyond their comfort zones, and to persist when faced with setbacks. Without self-faith, fear and doubt can cloud judgment, leading to inaction and missed opportunities. However, When you believe in your ability to navigate challenges, fear no longer becomes a paralyzing force. It becomes an invitation to grow. People with faith in themselves understand that failure is not a permanent state, but a stepping stone toward eventual success. This faith in oneself is rooted in personal awareness. It comes from understanding one's strengths and weaknesses, knowing where you excel, and being honest about areas that may need improvement. By accepting and embracing these aspects, you build a more balanced and realistic self-image. It is not about being perfect or free from flaws. Rather, it is about recognizing that imperfection is part of the human experience and does not define your worth. In fact, it is often through our imperfections that we learn and evolve. True self-faith acknowledges both our brilliance and our shortcomings, allowing us to move forward with authenticity and courage. To have faith in oneself also means to trust the process of personal growth. It requires patience and perseverance. Success does not always come immediately, and the journey is often fraught with difficulties and uncertainty. People with self-faith understand this, knowing that challenges are part of the path to greatness. They do not allow temporary setbacks to shake their belief in their ultimate potential. When faced with obstacles, they continue to take action, learn from mistakes, and adapt. They remain committed to their goals, knowing that the road may be long, but the destination is worth the effort. Faith in oneself is also about resilience. Life is unpredictable, and everyone faces moments of doubt, disappointment, and hardship. During these times, self-faith becomes the anchor that keeps us grounded. It is the quiet voice inside that says, "I have faced challenges before, and I can face them again." This resilience is built by continually proving to yourself that you are capable of overcoming difficulties. Each challenge you navigate successfully reinforces your faith in your own strength, and each success, no matter how small, builds momentum toward larger achievements. Furthermore, self-faith is intertwined with the ability to set and pursue meaningful goals. When you believe in yourself, you are more likely to set ambitious goals because you trust that you can take the necessary steps to achieve them. Self-doubt often leads to a lack of direction or indecision, while self-faith inspires decisive action. It drives you to move forward even when the path is unclear, because you trust that you will find your way. People who have faith in themselves are not deterred by the unknown. They embrace it, seeing it as an opportunity for growth rather than a threat. Building faith in oneself also involves surrounding oneself with positive influences, people who encourage, support, and challenge you to grow. While self-faith is deeply personal, it is also nurtured through the relationships we cultivate. The energy and belief of others can reinforce our own sense of self-worth, and having a supportive network strengthens our resolve. In life, we all face challenges big and small that test our resilience, patience, and problem-solving abilities. It is easy to get caught up in the swirl of problems, to focus on the obstacles that stand in our way, and to dwell on how difficult things seem. However, one of the most powerful shifts in mindset that anyone can make is to focus on solutions rather than problems. The way we approach a challenge can make all the difference in how we experience it, and more importantly, how we ultimately overcome it. When we focus on problems, our energy is directed toward the difficulty itself. This often leads to rumination, a cycle of negative thinking that amplifies the problem and makes it seem insurmountable. The more we think about the problem, the larger it grows in our minds. We can become so absorbed in the issue that we fail to see the opportunities or solutions that lie in front of us. This mindset of problem fixation can be paralyzing, as it feeds our fears, doubts, and insecurities. It also keeps us in a reactive state where we are simply responding to the problem without taking proactive steps to resolve it. On the other hand, focusing on solutions is a transformative mindset that shifts our attention from the limitations of a situation to the possibilities within it. When we make the conscious decision to look for solutions, we begin to take ownership of the challenge. Rather than being victims of our circumstances, we become active participants in finding a way forward. The key to solving any problem lies not in endlessly analyzing the issue, but in directing our energy toward creative, constructive responses that move us closer to resolution. A solution-oriented mindset is grounded in action. When we focus on solutions, we recognize that challenges are opportunities for growth, not dead ends. Every obstacle is an invitation to think critically, to innovate, and to stretch our abilities. By shifting our focus away from the problem itself, we open our minds to alternative approaches and ideas that may not have been immediately apparent. Solutions often come from unexpected places, and when we train ourselves to seek them out, we become better equipped to handle adversity. Focusing on solutions also enhances resilience. Life is rarely straightforward, and setbacks are a natural part of any journey. However, people who focus on solutions are able to bounce back more quickly from failure or disappointment. They do not dwell on the missteps or setbacks, but instead look for what can be learned from the experience and how to move forward. In this way, a solution-focused mindset enables individuals to develop a greater sense of mental and emotional strength. They become less discouraged by temporary failures and more motivated to keep moving forward with renewed energy. Another significant benefit of focusing on solutions is that it fosters a sense of empowerment. When we focus solely on problems, we can easily feel helpless or overwhelmed, as though the situation is beyond our control. However, when we take responsibility for finding solutions, we reclaim our power. We recognize that we have the ability to influence the outcome, even if we cannot control every aspect of the situation. This sense of agency is crucial for maintaining motivation and confidence during difficult times. The act of actively seeking solutions reminds us that we are not passive bystanders in our lives, but active creators of our reality. Moreover, adopting a solutions-oriented approach promotes a growth mindset. Those who focus on solutions are often more willing to experiment, take risks, and view mistakes as opportunities for learning. They embrace challenges as part of the process, knowing that overcoming difficulties enhances their skills and capabilities. This mindset fosters innovation and creativity as individuals become more open to trying new things and stepping outside their comfort zones. When we shift our attention from problems to solutions, we stop seeing obstacles as roadblocks and start seeing them as stepping stones to greater achievements. Ultimately, the decision to focus on solutions rather than problems is a powerful act of mental discipline. It requires conscious effort and practice to shift our perspective, especially when faced with difficult situations. However, once we make that shift, we begin to notice the positive impact it has on our outlook, our problem-solving abilities, and our overall sense of control over our circumstances. The mind is a powerful force capable of shaping our reality, influencing our actions, and determining the quality of our lives. It is the lens through which we perceive the world, and the way we think about ourselves, our circumstances, and our goals greatly affects the outcomes we experience. Mastering the mind is a process of taking control of our thoughts, emotions, and reactions in order to direct them in ways that serve our highest good. It is not about suppressing or eliminating negative thoughts, but rather about gaining the ability to choose how we respond to them and how we let them shape our behavior. One of the first steps in mastering the mind is becoming aware of our thoughts. Most of us live much of our lives on autopilot, reacting to situations without truly reflecting on the patterns of thought that drive our responses. Our minds are constantly busy, often filled with judgments, assumptions, and automatic reactions based on past experiences. The key to mastering the mind is to become an observer of our thoughts, noticing them without attachment or judgment. This awareness allows us to recognize when our thoughts are leading us into negative, unproductive, or fearful patterns. Once we identify these patterns, we can begin to change them. Controlling the narrative within our minds is an essential part of mental mastery. The stories we tell ourselves have a profound impact on our lives. For instance, if we constantly tell ourselves that we are not good enough, that we will fail, or that success is out of reach, these stories shape our reality. Our beliefs drive our behaviors, and if we believe we are destined to fail, we will likely act in ways that prevent success. On the other hand, when we change the narrative to one of possibility, confidence, and resilience, we align our actions with these new beliefs. By consciously rewriting the story we tell ourselves, we can shift our mindset toward one of empowerment and possibility. Another critical element of mastering the mind is managing our emotions. Emotions are natural responses to external events, but it is how we choose to respond to them that determines their impact. Emotions like fear, anger, and sadness can easily overwhelm us if we do not have the tools to manage them effectively. Mastering the mind means developing emotional intelligence, which involves recognizing and understanding our emotions, then responding to them thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively. By practicing mindfulness and emotional regulation techniques, we can maintain a sense of inner calm and clarity even in the midst of stressful or challenging situations. This allows us to make better decisions, maintain healthier relationships, and stay focused on our goals. A key aspect of mental mastery is developing focus and discipline. In a world filled with distractions, maintaining mental clarity and focus can be a challenge. Yet, mastering the mind requires us to direct our attention toward what truly matters. This may involve setting clear goals, breaking them down into manageable steps, and staying committed to those actions despite external distractions or internal doubts. Focus is cultivated through practice, whether it's through meditation, goal setting, or simply developing the ability to block out unnecessary noise and stay on task. Discipline, on the other hand, is the ability to take consistent action even when motivation wanes. When we learn to discipline our minds, we gain the ability to persist regardless of external circumstances. Self-talk is another powerful tool in mastering the mind. The way we speak to ourselves shapes our mindset and our ability to perform. Negative self-talk can be debilitating, leading to self-doubt, anxiety, and a lack of confidence. Positive self-talk, on the other hand, boosts our morale, encourages us to keep going, and reinforces our belief in our abilities. By being mindful of the language we use with ourselves, we can shift from a mindset of limitation to one of abundance and possibility. Self-compassion is also a critical part of this process, as it allows us to be kind to ourselves when we make mistakes or face challenges, rather than beating ourselves up or engaging in self-criticism. Mastering the mind also involves developing resilience. Life is unpredictable, and setbacks are inevitable. The true measure of mental strength is not the absence of challenges, but our ability to bounce back after facing them. Resilience is built by maintaining a positive attitude in the face of adversity, learning from failures, and using those experiences to grow stronger. By practicing resilience, we develop the mental toughness needed to persevere through difficult times, knowing that setbacks are temporary and that success requires persistence. Ultimately, mastering the mind is about taking full responsibility for our thoughts, emotions, and actions. It is a lifelong process of self-awareness, self-discipline, and continuous growth. The more we practice mastering our minds, the more control we gain over our lives, allowing us to create the future we desire, regardless of the challenges that may arise. Persistence is the unyielding determination to continue striving toward a goal despite setbacks, obstacles, or discouragement. It is a quality that separates those who achieve their dreams from those who give up along the way. While talent, intelligence, and resources are undeniably important, persistence often plays a far more critical role in determining long-term success. It is the force that drives individuals to keep going even when the path is unclear or when immediate results are not apparent. In fact, the ability to persist in the face of adversity is one of the most powerful indicators of future success. One of the key elements of persistence is mental fortitude. Life is full of challenges, and the journey toward any significant achievement is rarely smooth. People who embody persistence do not allow temporary failures or difficulties to derail their progress. Instead, they see these obstacles as opportunities for growth and learning. They understand that setbacks are not signs of defeat, but rather natural parts of the process. Mental fortitude allows persistent individuals to stay focused on their objectives and maintain their belief in the possibility of success, even when the odds seem stacked against them. It is the internal strength to press on when the external world may not yet reflect the desired outcome. Persistence also requires a strong sense of purpose. Those who persist are often deeply connected to their goals and motivations. This sense of purpose provides the fuel to keep moving forward, even when the path becomes difficult or tedious. When the goal is meaningful, it becomes easier to keep going because the vision of success becomes a source of inspiration that transcends temporary discomfort. Purpose-driven persistence is unwavering because it is anchored in a vision of the future, whether that's personal fulfillment, professional achievement, or making a difference in the world. When individuals have a clear why, they are less likely to be swayed by obstacles or failures. Another significant aspect of persistence is the willingness to adapt and evolve. True persistence is not blind or rigid. It is not about stubbornly pushing forward with the same approach, even when it's clearly not working. Instead, it involves the ability to reassess, recalibrate, and adjust strategies while remaining committed to the end goal. Persistent people are resourceful. They learn from their mistakes and use those lessons to modify their approach. They embrace flexibility and creativity, constantly seeking new ways to overcome barriers and improve their methods. This adaptability is key because it allows them to maintain momentum even when the original plan doesn't yield the desired results. Persistence is also tied to patience. Achieving significant goals often takes time. In a world of instant gratification and rapid results, it can be easy to lose sight of the long-term process. However, persistence teaches patience, recognizing that meaningful achievements often require sustained effort over months, years, or even decades. People who understand the role of persistence know that success doesn't happen overnight. They are willing to invest time, energy, and resources without expecting immediate rewards. This patience allows them to remain committed to their journey, even when it seems like progress is slow. Additionally, persistence involves overcoming doubt and negativity. Doubt is a natural part of the human experience, but persistent individuals know how to combat it. When others may question their decisions or when self-doubt creeps in, they continue to move forward with faith in their abilities and their goals. Persistence builds resilience against external negativity, and it strengthens the internal resolve that success is possible. Persistent individuals develop a mindset that sees obstacles as temporary and challenges as surmountable. They refuse to let negative feedback or difficulties deter them from their mission. Lastly, persistence cultivates self-discipline. Achieving long-term goals requires consistent action, even when the motivation to act may not be present. The disciplined individual understands the importance of continuing to work, even when they don't feel like it. Persistence is not just about passion or excitement. It's about showing up day after day, putting in the effort, and doing the necessary work. This self-discipline is what transforms big dreams into tangible results, as it turns the abstract concept of success into something achievable through steady, unwavering effort. In conclusion, persistence is not simply about being stubborn or relentless. It is about embodying the traits of resilience, adaptability, patience, and self-discipline. It is the steadfast commitment to a vision or goal, even when the journey is difficult or long. Persistence is the quiet force that propels individuals forward, turning dreams into reality and ensuring that no challenge is insurmountable. In conclusion, mastering the mind, overcoming fear, and developing persistence are all integral parts of achieving success and personal growth. By shifting our focus from problems to solutions, building faith in ourselves, and embracing challenges with resilience, we unlock our true potential. Persistence is the fuel that keeps us moving forward, even when faced with obstacles. A positive mental attitude, coupled with a relentless drive and unwavering self-belief, empowers us to conquer any adversity. Ultimately, the ability to harness these principles enables us to take control of our destiny and create the life we envision.